Hi, it's Adam Harrison from Burble Guitars, and you are watching the Cigar Box Guitar Builder. In this video, I'm building a very simple 2-string chugger cigar box guitar. Just giving you some ideas of how I shaped the neck on this particular one. It's rather roughly done. This one here, I had a box, a small Monte Cristo box, which I decided to use. I had already put in some bracing in the corners and drilled a hole for the output jack. I'd also placed a piezo on the inside top of the box. So I was just cleaning the box up here, just giving it a little bit of a tidy up. And here I'm marking the notch out for the top of the box. So I did go over to the bandsaw off camera and took out a 3mm piece out of the top of the neck. You'll see in a second where I've actually gone and filed it down and cleaned it up a little bit. Alright, now in this section here I'm marking out where I'm going to put the nut. I must admit at this point of time I had absolutely no idea what the scale length was going to be, so all I was doing was pretty much doing it by eyeballing it. I'm clamping the neck down on the bench here, and I'm using my fret saw in just a second, there we go, to cut out a notch for where I'm going to glue in timber nut. Alright, now I've got a chisel just to take out the pieces from that little channel, and then I'm going to use a flat file just to file it out, make a nice flat bottom there where a timber nut can actually go in. I've basically shaped it using some scrap timber. You can see just there, the piece I was going to use is way too big. But we've got a nice little piece in there now. You'll see it just on camera in just a second. And you can see that there. I will cut in a couple of notches in it for the strings. Now in this section I'm using a rough file to hack out a little bit of excess timber that was sitting there just to flatten that section, and that's where the lid of the box will actually fit on top of the neck tenon. Now I'm just checking to make sure that the lid of the box will actually fit into the recess, which it does, fits really nicely and snugly. Now this is a real favourite part for many people, cutting out the notch in the box where the neck is actually going to go into it. I was just using an X-Acto knife just to score, and here I am with a fret saw, cutting out the notch, and then I was going to use an X-Acto knife again just to score it and then cut out that section just there. You can see I was just about to do that. There I am. So just in this section here, I'm getting one of my output jacks. I do use pretty good quality output jacks. You don't have to go super crazy, but it's nice to use something that's quite firm. That hole was pre-drilled, as I mentioned earlier, and all I'm doing there is popping it in and screwing it in nice and tightly. Alright, so I finally get my ruler out, and I decided to find out what scale length I'm actually going to use. So it's at this point that I realised it was going to be fairly short, which was fine. And what I've just done there is I've just marked in the 12th fret, or the octave, and I'm just filing in 2 notches into the timber nut now for the strings to pass through. Now I've got a nice soldering station here, so I'm just soldering the negative, of course, to the earth, and the positive, or the live, to the positive. So just make sure you do that the right way around. You'll know if you don't, because you get a really horrible buzzing sound. You'll definitely know. The earth of the output jack is the tab that's connected to the inner sleeve. So just remember that being the negative or the earth, and you'll be right. Yes, now it's always good at this section just to test the piezo, make sure that your wiring is actually working. Mine was pretty close to the amp, that's why it was squealing. Right, you've probably seen me do this before, but here I'm just basically using some rivets, punching out the nail from the rivet, and we're actually going to use that in the back of the guitar. So you can see I've actually pushed those in, and that'll stop the strings from biting into the timber and losing tuning. So nice and firm. I hit it on the counter, of course, and it's a nice firm. Now we're going to pop those machine heads in. So off we go. Now, very important with your machine heads, make sure that the gear is facing away from the body of the guitar. What you really want is that post to be closer to the to the body than the gears. That way it's going to be nice and strong. It's not going to lose tuning, and you won't end up with cogs that are actually slipping. Look, not that it's super important in a lovely little rustic build like this, but it's just nice to make sure that things are the right way around. And finally, it's time for some strings. So I found a nice piece of timber that I just roughly shaped into a bridge, and we're winding those strings on. I ended up winding it to F sharp, which was pretty close to G by ear, but I did get the tuner out and actually tune it up properly. So we ended up with, being a 2-string, the lower string I strung to G, and the higher string I tuned up to D. And it actually has a really lovely little tone running through an amplifier, and even just acoustically. Obviously, it's a small box, so it's not super loud, but it just goes to show in this video that it doesn't take a lot. It's not rocket science. So get out there and you can put something together and just have a little bit of fun with it. So those string winders are absolutely essential. Please save yourself some time. Grab one. They were like $4 or $5.
Alright, so what you've just seen is...
Alright, so what you've just seen is a warts and all video in real time almost of how to build basic, simple cigar box guitar. This is affectionately known as a chugger. It's a 2-string cigar box guitar. Alright, we got G. So we're playing in G. But I can play a song using this guitar, and this is just a really simple cigar box guitar that you guys, if you're a beginner, that you can build. You saw me build it, how to do it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of messing it up. It ain't pretty, but it's a pretty box actually. The Monte Cristo boxes are rather cute. This is a small box, but you plug this in, nicely seated piezo pickup in there, and it'll play nicely actually. High pitch. Let's see how we go. There you go. All right. Adam from Birdwood Guitars, and you've been watching the Cigar Box Guitar Builder. So get out there and go and build something. Go and have some fun and knock something together in your shed. See ya.